Well, hi there, everyone. It's a week 3 preparation update for the NFL algorithm. We're going to talk about Thursday night's game. We're going to talk about a lot of work that has been done on the file here as we finally transition into week 3 and start including actual team stats from this year. We've also got a bunch of players that people that have been traded or moved to new teams or are on the correct team now. We have a check for that, so we've got all the rosters correct. And a ton of work that I've spent a good portion of the last few hours doing. So let's talk about first Thursday night, if you're interested in Thursday night's game. I'm in North Carolina right now. However, the game on Thursday night is going to be in Houston. It's going to be Texas, but it's going to be the Carolina Panthers against the Texans. Algorithm likes Carolina to win this game, but it's going to be kind of close when it comes to the spread. 7.5 is what the favor is. Now, the question is, is it Tyrod Taylor who's playing for Houston? Somebody played pretty well for Houston in the early part of the first half of the game against Cleveland, made it a close game, and then I think he got hurt with a quad or a hamstring. He'll probably be back. We could look at the injury report, and this is how you can tell what's going on with Houston. And some additional analysis that you can do in the file is you have the Proj pivot sheet, which stands for projection pivot, which is projection of points and stats. This game is Carolina and Houston. Well, here's what the matchup looks like with people that are playing with questionable injuries included. So if we open up Houston, we will see that quarterback, he's not here. Tyrod Taylor is not here on Houston. Let's make sure that he's injured by unfiltering all of the injuries right over there. Open it up, and there is Tyrod Taylor, who right now is on the IR with a hamstring. So he's probably not going to be back. All right, that's what that tells you. So if we then open up all the stats, this injury slicer here, this is where I start to get into the type of video where I explain to people who are using this file all the things that you can do without me when you're just reviewing and digging into the stats. So this would include all players, whether or not they're injured or not, when we're showing everything that's in this green slicer here. But we don't want to show all of that because all these players are not playing. Only the players with the injury status of 0. Now you have to hold down Control on the keyboard when you're using the mouse and then click all the things that have questionable at the beginning. Questionable players are probably playing in the game and probably okay enough to play. Whether or not they're 100% or not is obviously a question that's difficult to answer, but you do generally want to include them in the roster for the point projections because they are probably playing. Once you do that, you get the full list, right? So given that setup, well, now we know that Tyrod Taylor probably not playing on Thursday, short week anyway for them. That does make this kind of skew a little bit more toward Carolina, but you got a really tough spread line at over more than a touchdown. It's tough. So very difficult game to bet on. Minus 385, not a generous line for Carolina. So it's just really, really tough. Carolina has been playing extremely well. They did away with New Orleans real easy on last week. So I'm tempted to say take Carolina minus the 7.5, even though the algorithm doesn't agree. You'd have to get the magnifier up a little bit more to get them to cover that 7.5, right? Something like this. Those Thursday night games can sometimes be lower scoring. But we'll leave it back down here, and there's another thing I want to talk about with the magnifier. What was it, at 6? We're still kind of guessing right now, and I'll explain why. When we look at the pro reference stats for the year, this is an area of the file where we're importing current stats, and we're looking at all the different ratings to help us project the scores. Well, early in the season like this, we're still dealing with distorted rating numbers. For example, these defensive ratings, a negative 32 for Atlanta, I mean, that's pretty bad. Atlanta is pretty bad, but that is skewed. It's not supposed to be that bad as they get further on in the season and start to play some teams that don't score as much against them. Like Detroit, bad. I mean, Detroit did not cover in that game on Monday night. It's sad. Green Bay finally came out and played. It looks like Rodgers is still playing here. He didn't look happy, but he was playing. Then there's some really interesting things like Pittsburgh's rating here is a plus 21.4, yet they just lost to the Raiders. I'm confused about this number. It's skewing things, in my opinion. So we got a lot to watch out for because this is contributing to the point projection. So still difficult week to project here early on. And normally I didn't used to really bet a lot or care much about this until about week 5 because early in the season is kind of messy. But I've been watching enough football here that we can make some assessments on these games. So with Tyrod Taylor out and Carolina playing as well as they do, I would say that they do cover. And if you're going to make one bet on Thursday night, it's going to be Carolina minus 7.5. Try maybe take an alternate line of minus 6.5 to not pay as well, just so that you can have them win by a touchdown and still get paid. That's my advice for Thursday night. You don't want to have money on Houston without Tyrod Taylor because I believe it's David Mills is the other quarterback. And he had turnover, I think. It almost cost Houston that game in terms of covering the spread here on Sunday. Cleveland did not cover the spread against Houston. If we look at Week 2's games here. Well, what just happened? Did I just hide everything? Let's fix that. Let's undo that. Let's unhide everything. And you can see that in that game here, Houston barely covers, only losing by 10 points, but they tried to lose more with Mills as quarterback. So I don't have any faith in Houston playing well against Carolina, a team that is certainly hot right now. Even though it's home in Houston, doesn't seem like it's going to be the case. So that's the update for Thursday night. I've lowered the price of the algorithm for the rest of the September subscription to $20 because there's only 10 days left. You'll get week 3 and week 4 here. And of course, I'll continue to do more work and update all of these player stats so that we can be as clean as possible for the week. I'm not going to discuss the games other than the Thursday night game. On Friday, I'll be posting another video for subscribers, which I'll make public to everyone else on Sunday when the games start. But if you'd like to get access to the picks for Sunday's games, Sunday and Monday's games before they start, you will need to subscribe for September. No free videos this week. So that's the look. If you do one thing on Thursday night, I'm taking a risk here. I'm saying Carolina minus 7.5 because that's the side you really want to have the money on in this game, especially with Tyrod Taylor out. Of course, check the injury report before the game just to see if he's playing. But he had come out of the game last week, so he's probably not going to play this week. All right, good luck, everyone. May all your picks be winning, and we roll into week 3. It was a very fun week of football last week. Just tough games. Look at, I'll keep going to this video here for a second. Keep looking at, what happened here. We had some wins up top. This New Orleans game was weird because of their win over Green Bay in week 1, so I don't really think about that being on the top of the list. But Tampa Bay, Patriots, Broncos, the Lions don't do much because Green Bay decided to play on Monday night, and Seattle loses a really tough one. But Arizona and the Rams win, so there were some signs of this thing working pretty well. When you see a chunk of wins at the top and a chunk of losses toward the bottom, that means these games are supposed to be closer anyway, based on projected score. So it means the other team is covering here at the bottom. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. If you win a chunk at the top and these teams cover at the bottom, you can bet accordingly and win a lot of games. We went 4-3 on our round robin, losing the Monday night game as well. So I lost about 60 or 70% of my wager on week 2. We will have a new wager for week 3 on Friday to explain what that is as we dive through the file. So good luck, everyone. May all your picks be winning.